on, it's been a hot minute, hasn't it? Welcome back to That Gameplays Live. I'm your host, Nolan Thunder, and it's been a bit of a minute since our last stream, but once again, we are here to talk about some of the amazing gaming news out there, and we are so glad to see our wonderful community back at it again. We see some amazing people in the chat, but I'll tell you, I can't do this alone. I need my wonderful co-host, the man, the myth, the bearded legend himself. Please give it up for Culture Casino.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Keep it down. Keep it down. Don't get too excited. No fireworks. We're good. I'm glad to be back. Look, this is great. We got That Gameplays back live. We got a fresh host here with great ideas and a good plan for today's show. So thank you, Nolan, for putting it all together. I think we're going to have a good one. Let's take a look at the chat real quick. Jay out there. What's up, Jay? Good afternoon indeed. Yep. And you know what's great about this right now? There's no @ sign in front of Jay. There's also no @ sign in front of Makini Dross, who drops 5 in quarters. That's right. We have to be back the Tolkiens of our video game arcade here. Just to say thank you. I want to say thank you to Makini, who says, "Hail TGP, just wanted to show some love doing peak gaming stream." Awesome. While watching. Oh, well, thanks for that. And game on. That's right. We will say the line at the end of the stream. Don't worry. I'm going to make.
We appreciate all the support, Makini.
I'm gonna make Nolan say it at the end of the stream. And Ninja's here. Ninja Pat 15 for player number 3, third player in the house. And yeah, this is great. The lovely Juliet from across the pond in the middle of the night. The middle of the night over there in the parts in Europe. So thank you for your help and your time here, along with Contra Mortem. Gaming Gooners. Well, not so much here, but it is what it is, and I'm grateful that you're here as well. Tom F is in the house. Good to see you, Tom. Thanks for being here. We appreciate your support, and we have more folks on the way. They're going to be joining us in a delayed fashion, so we'll get the stragglers here in a moment. But I think we need to go ahead, Nolan, and jump into. Wait, we got one more super duper chat just dropped. From our good friend Mark Fields for $1.99. Positive vibes to you all. Positive vibes to you, Mark. Thank you for the $1.99 or the $2 super duper chat. We appreciate it.
We're feeling all the positive vibes and all the support here, and we can't do it without you guys. So thank you. True. And if you want to keep the positive vibes going, Culture, I think it's time for our first story. Do you think so too?
I think so. Let's get it up on the screen. We've got a lot to talk about here, and I'm stoked. This one is going to be a good one. I've got it up into the stage. Coming into the stage live is the next story, and I clicked the button. It's still not showing up. I'm gonna put the backup plan into effect here until that shows up on my side of the equation, and just do this. Boom,
boom. Perfect. Looks beautiful.
Thank you for that. Nolan, you want to read that story for us, my friend?
Absolutely. All right. Coming in from My Nintendo News by Nintendo Jam. We got a really fun one to start this one out. Super Mario Strikers coming to Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack as soon as next week. The article goes on to say, if you'd like to scroll down there a little bit there, Mr. Culture.
That's actually you.
Oh, heck yeah. Perfect. Okay. Awesome. All right. Nintendo has announced that the next game to be added to the ever-expanding Nintendo Switch Online library will be Super Mario Strikers from 2005. This will be the 4th GameCube game included with the service, following The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, F-Zero GX, and Soul Calibur 2. It's in all caps, so I'm guessing they're shouting it, which has been available since the launch of Switch 2. Super Mario Strikers launches on the 3rd of July, 2025 via the Nintendo GameCube Nintendo Classics app, exclusive to the Switch 2. The app can be downloaded now for the Nintendo eShop for anyone with an active Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack subscription. Culture, have you ever played Super Mario Strikers?
I'm trying to remember. This is an old school game back in 2005, so there's a decent chance. For whatever reason, it doesn't remind me. I'm not reminded of this game. What are you doing? And then I'll let you know if I remember it.
Well, it's actually a Mario soccer game. And instead of just being a normal soccer game, there's not just a Mario twist where you got like the items and stuff, but for some reason, someone on the staff decided to make it the most hardcore, edgy 90s-esque game possible. Because literally during the soccer game, you're tackling into your opponents, you're throwing like the bullet bills into them and they're exploding into ashes, and you can even tackle your opponents into electric fences as the out of bounds area.
Woo! Okay.
It's good stress relief, didn't you know?
Yeah, it sounds a little rough, but it sounds great. And I do remember something like that. I remember playing a Mario soccer game. So there you are. You know what? It's no wonder that this is going to be added to the Switch library. And I feel like it gives people something to squelch their complaints about Switch 2 not releasing with enough. What do you say to that?
Say that last part again.
It gives people to shush it about the fact that there wasn't quite as much released with the Switch 2 at the same time.
Oh, don't worry. People will find a way to complain. I still think it was kind of pathetic that they launched with 3 games for the GameCube at the start. So maybe I'm just a hater. But yeah, no, I think it's kind of cool that we're getting such a late era GameCube game right off the start. I thought they were going to be like, all right, you get like some of the games from the first year, like your Pikmins or your Smash Brothers Melee, and then it would just slowly trickle. But the fact that they're already going so late, so early, that's a very good sign. And for a game as popular as this, I really hope they keep this stuff just coming month after month, because I've been through like the Wii U and the Wii era where they took way too long to get some of these legacy titles out there. And I think this is something that the Switch 2 could really use to get the amp up on it, because the GameCube Classic is worth a pretty penny these days.
A lot of people really do miss these old school games, and being able to have this available in the library, I think this is going to help. And look, a lot of hours of enjoyment many people have had with this, and this is going to be out there on the 3rd of July. There's a reason to celebrate 4th of July. Well, you should already be, but there's that. So you're going to get that Nintendo GameCube plus Nintendo Classics app exclusive to Switch 2. The app can be downloaded now from the Nintendo eShop, so anybody can grab this, which I think is great, at least if you have an expansion pack subscription. All right. Well, I would say that was a pretty good story to start off with today. What do you think, Nolan?
Agreed completely. You know, like, I think Nintendo is really great because they give a lot of chances for people to unite memories, and they don't get to where they just want to make their consumers angry all the time. So that's always a complete win. I see we got Davina Duckworth saying here that I think the Switch 2 owners are buying the classic Switch games too. I think that's a very good point. The Switch had a huge library. And speaking of huge, we just got a giant super chat from Base Player 2011, Iffy. Mr. Culture, do you want to read this beautiful human's message here?
Certainly. Here we go. Saying, not buying a Switch 2 until I see either a Prime 2 remaster or it's added to the GameCube library, along with Melee and Mario Golf Toadstool Tour, which I'm with you on that one. And that is a minimum. There you go. We're going to talk the bare minimum, apparently, today. And talking of a Silent Hill 1 remake has been announced. Yeah, we may have that story. We may get to that later. But Base Player 2011, Iffy, we appreciate you. Thanks for the $20 super duper chat. That is a lot of quarters. We might get to the pizza time here pretty soon. Along with
we're getting the Baja Blast 2 liters with that thing, man. Like the Base Player's playing for all this good stuff.
All right, sounds good. We're getting there, and we're very excited. Thank you for adding to the gaming stream, and thanks for being here on our the relaunch of the show on a Saturday night for most of you, and perhaps a Saturday. This is a Saturday night, and a Sunday morning over in the UK. There, I was doing better math. So, and it's great to see you out there, Juliet. I know it's an early time, but thank you very much, Base Player. On that note, I think we probably should get to story numero dos, and I think this is one that will probably take the world by storm. Speaking of taking the world by storm, before we jump on that story, we have in the background the one and only and the amazing, not only gamer, but muscle-bound hero of our own making or choosing, or the man we just need right now. Apollo That's right, Kevin Apollo.
Kevin!
How are you doing, my friend?
What's going on, boys? Thanks for sending me the invite.
Indeed,
No
indeed.
problem.
We know that you like to talk about gaming, but we also know that you like to talk about this kind of gaming. That's right. Stellar Blade is a hit on PC. That's right. Nolan, take it away.
Will do, good sir. Anyways, today's story. Stellar Blade on PC hit 1 million sales 19 times faster than on PlayStation 5. So the PC be saying, eat your heart out, PlayStation 5. Stellar Blade has proven that time means nothing to a good game, with the recent PC launch of the post-apocalyptic sexy slasher hitting 1 million sales in just 3 days. To put that into perspective, when Stellar Blade was released on PlayStation 5 in April of 2024, it took almost 2 months to hit the same milestone. It helps that the game is being bolstered by hundreds of certain kinds of mods, which form the backbone of the community in the PC market. And it's been quite a stellar performance. In a post on the South Korean site RuliWeb, it was revealed that Stellar Blade had secured 1 million PC sales in just 3 days, decimating the 58 or so days it took the game to hit 1 million sales on PlayStation 5. That brings the total sale for Stellar Blade up to a substantial 3 million units. The upgraded Stellar Blade has turning heads and has become the #1 PlayStation to PC game to ever be released, pulling in a whopping peak player count of almost 200,000 users on Steam, with it effortlessly topping the charts on PC. Kevin Apollo, seeing as you just joined us, what's your take on this? Why are gamers so excited for this? Do you have a take to give us here?
I mean, sometimes you just want to have fun and have attractive people do things in a video game and not have to be feeling guilty about it. I think the Sweet Baby Ink crisis should have taught everybody by now. Just like gamers have fun without ugly people.
Yeah. I completely agree. Now, you're like saying stress-free here, but what if the user playing the game is a married man and his wife comes in at a very inappropriate time? Is there going to be some stress with that?
I mean, listen, it's okay. You're not if you're saying you're not trying to date your heroine. So
not yet anyway. But man.
Yet.
Yeah, look, all of the outrageousness that are being claimed and all the outrageous claims that are, being out there in the world. I would say that this is essentially a game that looks good, that is going to, engage a certain group of men, obviously, and they'll engage in some opportunities to do some silly things. But overall, the game itself is a lot of fun. People enjoy it. We keep it PG around here, folks, if you're looking for anything, spicy. But I'll just say that mods have been around forever that do all kinds of things to games, and to get all worried about it, I don't have time. I don't have to play the game with the mods that are questionable, and neither do you. So, at the end of the day, it's up to you and what risk you take on, because as Nolan suggested and Kevin kind of agreed with, you are the only person to blame for your mods. That's all I have to say.
Truer words have never been said. If I could wrap up one more thing, the article says here, it's kind of interesting. Last month, Shiftoff quietly revealed a sequel for Stellar Blade, which has been on the card since a few weeks after the game launched 2024. It's not all known what the sequel will entail, but we can hope for the best, given performance of the first game and what could be a fruitful series. So, hey, we might have been experiencing some history here, despite all the controversies, despite all the backlash, this game has gotten a formidable fan base now, and I'm sure you're going to be seeing a lot of cosplays of her going forward, and a lot of diehard fans here. Any closing thoughts, gentlemen, before we wrap on the topic, as far as the sequel goes?
Oh, I'm excited. I mean, a sequel? I mean, keep them coming. To be fair, this game in particular, and anything that's similar to it, they're always a lot of fun. And I think for a long time, this has been an underserved genre, in my opinion, but I could be wrong.
No, I think you're 100% right. And the other thing, too, is, hey, listen, games like this just aren't for the male gaze. Women like to play games that have attractive women in them, too. Especially since 2008, cosplay has exploded, amongst the female community. They want to dress up like pretty people. They want escapism. You know, they also want to have fun. So just keep cranking out good fun games. Let everybody have some fun. Let it be over the top. Who cares? You know, listen. Everybody forgets. Everybody enjoyed playing the game where the cheerleader had a chainsaw and killed a bunch of zombies. So
It's true.
you know, it's just
Classic.
just let it be silly, let it be fun, and let's and give me more.
That's right. There's room for all kinds of entertainment, and I have to tell you, some of my favorite people that do cosplay pick characters like Miranda from, the famous Commander Shepard franchise and everything else. And I can just tell you, I mean, there are characters out there that people fantasize about being, and you know what? I support that. That's why I love the cosplayers at conventions, and I like the people who throw their entire weight behind that. First of all, it creates an idea that you can be healthy while trying to imitate some of these characters that, where are her organs at? Arguments don't quite work for. Anyway.
I couldn't agree more. I have a close friend of mine, Shirokoma. She actually did the whole Lollipop Chainsaw outfit, and it was stellar. So these type of games inspire people. Yes, I know. It's fun. That's what we need in our games. And I think if Stellar Blade's continuing here, I think we're going to be in for a lot of fun. So I'm excited for it. But Culture, I think we got a super chat. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, we do. We also have a lot of great commentary in the chat and some people that joined us that haven't been here in a bit. You got Doge out there. We got Argentum. Greetings, young lady. We are not retired. We are back. And you know who helped with that? Bass player 2011 Iffy. And if you have a PC and a Stitch, it's all you need. Gentlemen, I think that's largely correct. What do you think? Yeah. I think so too.
All right.
DK Bones in the house. Great to see you, my friend. Thanks for being there. The amazing Morgan King is here. Hail, everybody, and that game, please. That's right. And
thank you, Morgan.
More folks. In fact, Doge dropping $2 with a quarters. Hey, dude. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to beat you at Cyberball. Don't even try. All right. Anyway, says Fake Wizard must be unpleased with Twitch 2 sales. I felt like Nintendo was going to come through and produce more units than they needed. They would, for the first time in the history of Nintendo, out-manufacture the initial desire, which by all arguments, I mean, you can still go in and find one of these at a store, which I find unusual, but at least they were prepared for the first time ever. Guys, do you have a different take than me?
I disagree, but it could just be me. Not because I think your opinion's bad, but in my area, I can't find them. I've been to several stores. Best Buy had a whole dedicated sign that literally just said, "We don't have the Switch 2, go away." But probably said a little bit nicer.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, next time I see a bunch of them, I'll let you know. And if you want me to buy you one, I can mail it to you. But here's the weirdest thing. They're still out there. I mean, people are still finding them places, and they're still showing up weekly. So all I have to figure out is from your Best Buys when their shipment day is. You'll be on the right road. To me, it's not so pressing. Right now, I have multiple Switches in my house. I can only play, one of them at a time. The boss can only play one of them at a time. And, I have we got a story that's going to address this, but I got a bunch of cartridges that I can play anytime I want to. And when I eventually get around to a Switch 2, hopefully I can still play them. Different conversation though. Let's see. One more, two more. We got a couple other people that rolled through the door. Argentum saying, I sure as heck never cosplayed as an ugly character. Argentum, I wouldn't expect you to. And I appreciate you being here this evening. Not sexy ones, but certainly not ugly. Yeah. Like I said, one of my favorite people that cosplay just does Miranda or oh my gosh, what is her name? She says Shari.
Liara.
Liara, yeah, one that does that as well, and all these other amazing characters. I'm sorry, but there's something about these games that drive people, these BioWare games especially, that drive people to cosplay as these characters. I mean, they are not unattractive, and you know what? That's okay. We live in a very measured world these days that, for some reason, some people feel like they can pass judgment over your playing video games or who you cosplay as, which I think is silly. On that note, Nolan, what do we got next, my friend?
All right, well, I got a beautiful story ready to go right here, and it's going to be a little bit of a blast from the past here. It's going to be modern tech meets retro tech in the most strange of ways, and people might be placing bets on which one here is going to win. All right, and today's story comes from PC Mag, written by Will McCurdy. ChatGPT gets absolutely wrecked, yo, in chess match with 1978 Atari. The chatbot made enough blunders to get launched out of a third-grade chess club, according to the developer who set up the contest. No, I did not want that pop up. Thank you. ChatGPT maker OpenAI has been making ambitious predictions about a super intelligent artificial general intelligence coming in the near future. However, its flagship chatbot just got trounced by a 46-year-old device as one of the world's oldest games of skill. Using an emulator, a software developer pitted ChatGPT against Atari 2600's chess engine to test its metaphorical might at the 1978 game Video Chess. But ChatGPT got, as the kids say, absolutely wrecked at the beginner level of the game. According to a LinkedIn post on the experiment, ChatGPT reportedly confused rooks for bishops, missed pawn forks, and reportedly lost track of where pieces were. It made enough blunders to get laughed out of a third-grade chess club, quipped to the developer. The large language reported that blamed its defeat on the Atari game's pixelated chess piece icons being too abstract to recognize. However, it fared no better after switching standard chess notions. ChatGPT kept promising it would improve if we just start over, only to surrender roughly 90 minutes in. To add insult to injury, ChatGPT was the one to originally suggest the matchup in the conversation on the topic with the developer who set it up. All right, culture. Do you want to take us through this a bit? Can you tell me why Atari is just the king of chess and why ChatGPT is for a poor man's gaming experience?
Look, I mean, the 2600 was amazing, and I really did enjoy learning chess on that particular console. And there's still one in the closet here in the house. And I think I have one up north at the cabin as well. But regardless, this particular gaming system didn't have a lot of processing power. You had 0.3 MIPS of processing power, as a matter of fact, which is roughly 250,000 times less than an iPhone 15 Pro. So just imagine that for scale, that an iPhone has so much more processing power. So basically, the chess engine that Atari, was built on that particular cartridge game, was just basic moves of chess that had already been run through multiple, algorithmic and real world plays, so that it could just analyze what the next step was in order to accomplish the game. It was very singularly focused. Which is why, to me, it is not very surprising, since ChatGPT has never been put one-on-one with something else that would play the best possible move next always, right? Depending upon the skill level you set. If you set it to expert or world champion or whatever, I forget the settings on it. But if you did set it at the highest possible level, it was going to beat you, and no matter how awesome you were. In this situation, to put it on beginner mode, from what I believe I heard you say from the beginning of the article, and in that case, I would say ChatGPT just is incapable of like what you would expect. I mean, ChatGPT is predictive text with bonuses, with benefits, I would say. and it doesn't seem to be able to deliver. So I'm not surprised. I mean, algorithmically, based on the best chess moves possible at a given point in a game, I would have predicted that this wouldn't have this would not have won, because it probably had never been put through those paces before. And it seems like a $199 kids console from the late 70s, early 80s is kicking the butt of $100 million data centers right now. I'm not surprised.
But don't worry, it will definitely adapt. I'm sure Kevin has seen enough of those B-movie horror movies that know the ChatGPT. It will adapt, it will evolve, and one day it will destroy us all. Am I wrong, Kevin?
This story drops the same time as the story about how all the AI is choosing to sacrifice human lives to preserve itself. I don't know, man. Sarah Connor's right. I think this is a simple case of ChatGPT being too smart for its own good / jack of all trades, master of none. Can't roll. Face the master of one.
No, I think we put it up next with StarCraft. I think that's the next thing we challenge it with.
Yeah, well, it seems like the AI has had some skill with it, because the AI's victories in the real world games of skills have largely continued unabated for the past few decades, with Google's DeepMind cracking the ancient Chinese game of Go in 2016, followed by Blizzard's classic real-time strategy game StarCraft 2 in 2019. AI's dominance in games may even be moving to the physical world, get scared, with AI-infused machines starting to beat competent human players at real-world sports. Japan's Omron Corporation showcased its AI robot arm, Morpheus, in 2017, which could beat mid-level and amateur ping pong players, though it fell short of besting world-class players of sport. So, yeah, it seems like the AI robots could be a bit scary. If I start seeing some robots on the tennis court against Roger Federer, I think I'll officially know that it's officially too late. Gentlemen, any closing thoughts on AI coming to reality?
Is this like sorry.
No, go ahead.
Is this like when the Harlem Globetrotters fought those robots in basketball on the Gilligan's Island special?
Wow. That's a deep cut, bro. Look, I think I could take ChatGPT and Cyberball, but that's just me. There are definitely some skills, and you already have, like, there's predetermined moves in chess, but at the end of the day, I don't really think that ChatGPT thinks. I believe it just analyzes and then reacts, and I think that's not looking farther forward than the answer that's being looked for, and I think that puts it at a disadvantage, but I could be wrong.
Very well said. Very well said. Well, I guess only the future will tell on that, and we'll just have to see. But I'll tell you, if it ever tries to go up against the GameCube, it is still going to get wrecked, because, it doesn't stand a chance.
I'm not going to deny that.
I think let's check in on the chat, see how they're doing. Culture, do you want to bring up some of our wonderful people out in the audience?
Yeah, we got Argentum saying, "This is why I lectured students who use ChatGPT for their homework, even just to check it." Yeah, I mean, it's kind of strange. I think that ultimately, when you use it for research, which I frequently do, except I don't use ChatGPT, I use Grok, but I always challenge it on its sources and what it cites, because oftentimes it's extrapolating data from a lot of different sources and not the specific place that it cites. So it's always good to double check whatever some mind's eye is giving you, rather than something you can see with your own eye. So that's my thoughts.
Well said.
Yeah. We got a few other people out there. Read by Nature in the house saying ChatGPT failed due to bad eyesight. Yeah, that's actually what Nolan said, kind of, sort of, maybe. Well, it's a jagged thing I don't understand. Yeah, sure.
Graphics matter again, everybody.
Yeah, according to ChatGPT, your resolution sucks. I can't beat you. Yeah. Sorry about that. It is what it is. Juliet comes along with bonuses and benefit, like friends with benefits. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I said that something. I don't know what it was. But our good friend Bass Player 2011, if he says ChatGPT could just pull a Kurt Russell and dump a drink on the 2600 card slot. That's cruel. That's true. Dude, what that would be depressing. To me, 2600 must be preserved at all costs. Greatest console.
Agreed. And it's impressive how far it keeps lasting, because you keep hearing all these headlines about the Wii U and the Switches like dying out. Like, they made those things tough, bro.
Well, and again, it probably is because the console does not have a watch battery in it trying to retain whatever memory it thinks it needs to have. That's the thing that kills the original Xbox and anything else. Tell me I'm wrong. It's like the lead acid like dripping out and killing consoles. Ugh. All right. Anyway, we love the chat here. Thanks for being here. Thanks for participating. Great to see you. It can be a great tool for research, yes, but don't depend on it when you're already barely scraping C in English. Yeah, Argentum, that's a solid piece of teacher advice right there that I think anybody should be noting with any students, and especially when things start to sound too clean and not like how they speak in real life. That's how I always know you're cheating.
So culture, I think it's time to land into the next story, and I think we're going to have some, unfortunately, not the most happiest of news, but you know, it could be signs of seeing where the gaming industry could be going for one of the biggest players in the game. Wouldn't you agree?
I do agree, 100%. Let's take a look at this story.
All right, this story comes out of actually Fox Business. They want to talk about games again. It comes from Daniel Genoverse. Microsoft plans substantial job cuts across Xbox division. Gaming executives reportedly under pressure to boost financial performance following $69 billion Activision Blizzard deal. The article goes on to say, Microsoft is planning another round of cuts at Xbox as part of the tech giant's ongoing reorganization. Xbox managers are expecting substantial job cuts across the entire group as soon as next week. People familiar with the matter told Bloomberg. This marks the fourth time Microsoft downsized its gaming division in the past 18 months, the outlet reported. Several video game studios at the company's Xbox division were shuttered in 2024 to Fox Business reached out to Microsoft for comment. They said the company has been shedding its workforce over the past 2 years as part of a larger cost-cutting effort in which the company has been implementing organizational changes it believes are necessary to position it for success in a dynamic marketplace. The company told Fox Business in May, when it announced plans to lay off nearly 6,000 employees, that it was looking to streamline the process, procedures, and roles, and decrease management layers to move more quickly and boost efficiency. All right, well, guys, do you find this surprising? Kevin, we'll start out with you here. How do you feel about this? Do you think this is surprising? Do you have a take on this here?
I don't think it's surprising. We've been kind of seeing how Microsoft has been heading over the last 2 years. For me, it's more disappointing. I think you need competition in the field to keep everybody honest. I think part of the crisis of why the PS5 and the what is the new Xbox called? I have it downstairs and I can never remember what it's called. The
Series
XS, something like that.
The series, no games came out for it. The part of it is between the exclusivity deals and then the bizarre hard lurch towards woke self-censorship, you couldn't get any titles out. And right now you need a strong competitor who's just out here for the sake of keeping things entertaining and keeping things fun. And if they're going to decide to dump the console and just focus on dumping games out on stream or Steam or whatever, it stinks, man. It stinks. People need variety. People need competition, and you got to let the consumers hold these companies accountable. Instead of if we're going to be stuck with just Nintendo going through its weird little identity crisis now that we think Mr. Miyamoto is wrapping it up, and whatever they decide to do over in Sony, other than listen to common sense, I don't feel like the gaming industry is in too good a place right now.
I think it's in a bad place. I'm 100% with you. And when I look at this, and when I look at what the people there have said about this, with Xbox managers expecting a substantial job cuts across the entire group as soon as next week. First of all, I told you so. I have been talking about studios cutting entire studios just disappearing. I've talked about this for months on end. We've already exceeded the number of studios just expiring already this year. We went past my estimate, a while ago. And the reason that they're disappearing is because of consolidation, and the studios that have been consolidated with entities like Microsoft are just evaporating. They don't exist anymore. They no longer have a purpose. They were there. They're the competition that we want to exist. But at the same time, the people at Xbox, at Microsoft are saying things like, we want or we need to be more agile. We need to be more able to compete. They're right, but it's not a cost-cutting effort that you need to make. It's stop acquiring studios that you don't need in order to make good games. I mean, if you lose 6,000 employees, that's 6,000 people that were making games for other studios and doing it quite rightly. And streamlining your processes and procedures was something you would never have had to do had you not acquired these other game studios. And because this is a business story and I rely on certain people to analyze things from a journalistic point of view, which I'm incapable of because I am very opinionated, I'm going to bring in a special guest that just arrived. Our friend Spencer over
It's
at...
me! What's up,
right.
friends? We're back. It's Saturday. How are we all doing?
We're great, but we don't work for Microsoft, where they're going to lay off 6,000 people in their gaming studios.
I mean, I just wouldn't work for any of the big tech companies ever anymore.
What about that job security, Spencer?
There ain't no
there it
fucking job security in this country. All of our politicians are screwing us over, and nobody gives a shit. So,
Oh,
go into business for
language!
yourself. Go into business for yourself.
I thought we were PG here.
I forgot. It's been a long time.
It has been. It's okay. I'm gonna bleep all that out. You guys didn't hear it. Yeah, you're gonna hear a lot of. Yeah, I use the duck quacking, so it's not a bleep exactly. Whack. That's right. But, look, it's great.
Bleeps are funnier. I'm anti-censorship, but honestly, bleeping it is so much funnier. Like a bleep of an F word is so much funnier than just saying it.
Yes. Yeah. And again, you're not wrong though. That's the problem is, layoffs in the tech sector have been, happening since 2003. It's one of the things they highlight here in this story. And yet game studios have been collapsing left and right. Even the ones that were being artificially elevated because of their government, pro-propaganda stance, like with games like Dustborn being artificially elevated by a European consortium to try to elevate that game out of the complete disaster it was always going to be. But I just think that they're talking about the evaporation of jobs because of the macroeconomic conditions. what do you know that just means we overhired?
Yep.
And we based it strictly or entirely upon all these check boxes and immutable situations so that we could look good with our virtue signaling, and we have more money than we need right now so we can afford to be silly. None of these companies can afford to be silly anymore, right, Spence?
I mean, I completely disagree with that analysis of it, but yes, at this point, it's not about being silly. It's that these companies can't make bad business decisions anymore. It's not about the small, like the DEI pushes and all that. It's about the fact that, all the top video game studios or companies like Warner Brothers and EA, all these companies are run by people like the CEOs and the COOs. They are on record saying I don't know video games. They all come from tech sectors and other business sectors. So everything, it's the corporatization. The more that they treat this like a business, the more stupid all of this is going to get. It's not until you get somebody who understands video games and what to do and how to aim it, somebody like, a Nintendo, that you're going to get anything good. And yeah, Nintendo's going to miss a lot. I think they kind of missed with Mario Kart World, but at least they're trying. At least we get things from them. At least we see some level of innovation.
Great point, Spencer. But are you saying that means I can absolutely wreck Bob Iger at Fortnite? Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, considering the fact that I don't even know if he remembers that they own that, at this point.
Well, I mean, they're invested in it,
They invested 1.1 billion. They own it. Let's all be completely honest with ourselves. Let's not play weird bullshit or weird bull poop semantic games.
Man, I'm gonna be.
If
I'm gonna
Comedy
be.
Central.
If Disney gives Epic 1.1 billion to build a completely vague Disney ecosystem, like we don't even know if it's a game, we don't know that. Come on, they're not. Let's be real, guys.
Yeah, well, I do think it is a compound problem, right? Let's take a look at EA specifically. Their CEO does not care about games or gaming. He just wants the microtransaction consumers until they have spent every last dollar in their family bloodline, so that we can keep pressing on and put out a lame DLC with more loot boxes in it. The
Right.
On top of the big these big studios, like Culture said, gobbled up every smaller studio who was innovating, and then put a lot of stupid restrictions on how they decided to develop their content and turned off the money spending audience. So now we're stuck in this this purgatory of underdeveloped games, because who has time to download a 15-hour patch when you just want to play your game the first day you get it? Who wants to have to buy 47 DLC packs to go get something that was clearly just in the game anyway? Who wants to have to wait 10 years in between sequels? The game industry as a whole needs to take a good look at itself and go, oh wait, we messed up. And yes, the problem is the guy at the top who actually has no idea what he's talking about.
Oh, look, all I know is that Epic Games is worth $22.5 billion plus right now. They haven't had a recent valuation, but that's where it is. And they have this wonderful thing that everybody's now using as a crutch called Unreal Engine. And I think Epic's going to be okay. But you know what else is going to be okay? Our wonderful audience. Thanks for being out there. And yeah, I'm going to be executing my own version of censorship with a duck quack tonight, apparently, when I edit this. But I will say thanks for being here. We got a great chat in the audience. You guys are keeping us alive. Thanks for keeping us in your minds and being here on a Saturday, and with the marvelous return of Spencer and the glorious first moments of Kevin Apollo. I'm going to say this is going to be a winner for the ages. What else we got, Nolan? Anything fun?
Well, if you want to talk about a winner, let's talk about an interesting piece of unearthed media that happened in a bit of a lost media sense. And I have the story ready to go when you are, good sir.
Indeed. Check this out. Bam.
All right. This story comes from the good folks at Game Rant. And this article is by Charming Holiday. The article says, prototype for canceled Lego Minecraft game has surfaced. After negotiations between Mojang and Lego fell apart in 2012, the Minecraft spin-off title, Brickcraft, ended development. But a dedicated group of fans has now found a playable prototype build of the collaboration game. Brickcraft would have transformed the world of Minecraft into a Lego-inspired realm filled with the familiar pieces of the building block toys. And in spite of no official release ever coming to fruition, a usable version of the game has finally surfaced. Back in the early 2010s, developer Mojang entered discussions with Lego to produce a crossover video game, but Mojang disagreed with the brand restrictions put in place by the toy company, so development on the title was terminated. For years, players sought out a playable build of the forgotten Minecraft spin-off title with little success. As of June 2025, the search has resulted in an exciting find for fans who have been eagerly awaiting news of the long-lost Minecraft and LEGO collaboration. Spotted by Games Radar on June 26th, the OmniArchive community website announced they had finally discovered a playable build of the infamous Brickcraft. OmniArchive is a fan-created platform that is dedicated to cataloging and preserving all things Minecraft. And the group of players behind the site has offered audiences a first-ever look at a June 2012 build of Brickcraft. The fans estimate that the provided version of the game is a build that was in development up until a month before the title's cancellation, and could potentially be one of the last builds ever used before work on Brickcraft was formally terminated. In spite of some performance hurdles, the existing build is said to feature a functional Minecraft multiplayer game mode, and mods have already been developed to make the prototype more accessible to interested fans. All right, Spencer just joined us here. Spencer, you're one of the young souls of this group here. Can you tell us a little bit about your take on this? I don't know if you're familiar with Brickcraft. I know this is new to me, but this is kind of wild and a huge find for the lost media community. What do you think?
So, yeah, I'm totally cool. I'm with it. I know the hip sling, Chugi. I know all this, so I definitely could weigh in here. But in terms of Brickcraft, so I actually did know that this existed. I remember a long time ago when it was in development. I remember a long time ago when it got canceled. So personally, I really don't care about Minecraft. It was the generation, like 2 generations after me. I was already way past it, and even now when I try to get into it, it's just not my flavor of game. But I know that a lot of people were excited about this, and maybe this is, for you, Nolan, and maybe for the other people in our chat who actually play Minecraft. I always thought that this idea was like, sure, like I get why everybody leapt to it, but I was kind of like, it's a smart business move for this to kind of get canceled, because what's the point? It's too close together. I feel like Lego or Minecraft wouldn't necessarily benefit from it. Minecraft, especially probably at the time, would have, everybody would have just gone, oh, that's a Lego thing. That's a Lego thing. And nowadays we have it as a distinct brand that people actually know are different than Legos, which if anybody remembers the early days of Minecraft, that is a genuine shock considering how sort of similar they are just in the physical world versus the digital one. Go get your Agumon.
I get what you mean there, Spencer, too, because like it sounds like they had some restrictions going on here, because it seems kind of like a redundant move to bring this game to
that's
reality,
the word I'm looking for. Yes, then. Redundant.
Yes, redundant. We know redundancy here, everybody. But I want to talk a bit more about what the article is saying here about the restrictions, because it said, while Brickcraft never officially came to be, LEGO and Minecraft have collaborated on a number of physical LEGO sets, including various minifigures and item pieces. But there were some challenges that happened later, because both Minecraft and LEGO have amassed impressive fandoms over the year, and may wonder why the two juggernauts have never come back to the table to start fresh negotiations for the powerhouse video game collaboration. Some argue that the Fortnite LEGO mode collaboration has put the possibility of a Minecraft LEGO crossover into a state of limbo, though it would be unheard of not unheard of for a toy brand like LEGO to branch out with multiple gaming team-ups. It is presently unknown if an official Minecraft LEGO game will ever be fully realized, leaving players to either optimistically wait it out or try their hands with uncovered prototype build. Unfortunately, I do apologize, folks. I thought there was a bit in here. I had done some digging on this before we had digging. I'd done some digging on this story a bit before we started the show, and I heard some concerns about LEGO apparently didn't like that the pieces could be like scratched up and scuffed up in the game, which the studio thought was hilarious, because I think everybody's run into LEGO pieces in their toy chests that have been scuffed up and messed up and all that sort of thing. But Kevin, I know you've got a lot of experience, here as a father and such, with the toy boxes, or the kids have in their toy boxes. What's your take on all this? Do you think this was a missed opportunity, or do you think that there could be some possibility going forward to keep collaborating despite the concerns?
I think at the time, Minecraft would have been gobbled up and just totally dominated by the Lego brand. They would have never stood a chance of differentiating themselves because it's just too similar. I even remember when my kids, they weren't playing it yet, but they were watching YouTube videos at the time, which I thought was just the weirdest thing, of little kids watching other kids play with toys. But I was like, oh, this is that Minecraft thing, and I still don't quite understand it. But I thought it was a Lego game. I just did. I saw the little blocks. I saw the weird little shaped things running around, and then they lectured me on how I just needed to know better and I needed to do better, and I felt terrible about myself and moved on. But yeah, I think if they try it now, they have listen, it's Minecraft is a certified brand, right? It had a mega successful movie. It's out there. They're probably on better footing to go kind of negotiate Lego down into not being as ridiculous. But I think it was a good move not to do it back then. They probably would have been taken advantage of and not had a leg to stand on to push back.
I look one way or the other. I'm just going to say it this way: you can go out and buy like 24 play sets right now, Lego Minecraft, and they have their own what do you call it? Advent calendar coming out at the end of the year. So it's Lego Minecraft. They're already partnered up. Would I be surprised if I saw a game? No. Would anybody be? No. The minifigs actually.
No,
really?
That's a completely stupid idea for either of them to partner up now. Minecraft is a giant, and as Nolan mentioned in the article, Lego has not only its own video game brand that it's got its own thing, but it's got the giant collaboration with Epic Games where they have their own Fortnite passes, a giant own Fortnite mode. Everything is modeled for Fortnite. Like, to partner up between them right now would be a complete waste of resources for both of them. There's no benefit for either of them.
And yet, I will still suggest that you can pick up your very current Lego sets through Lego that are Minecraft themed.
Cool. Ignores what I'm saying, Coulter. Cool.
No, I'm just saying, I just said I would not be surprised. I didn't say it would happen.
Right, but then when I give you that counter argument and you just go, well, there are Lego sets, that's not an argument.
Once again.
Well, I'm done with. I'm not standing for intellectual dishonesty anymore. I didn't stand for it on the first TGP, and I'm not standing for it here.
I'm intellectually dishonest to say I wouldn't be surprised to see them team up in the future.
You're being dishonest right now. It's like you're doubling down because it's not about you being surprised about seeing it in the future. It's when I bring up salient points, and instead of addressing them, you just go, well, they have Minecraft sets, like actual physical sets. Great. Not what I said at all, because I said I was talking about the fact that they have distinct digital ecosystems.
Okay. Regardless, I find it fascinating that we have Lego doing amazing things, and I love the team ups that they're doing. And I think that pretty much everything that we have going forward is going to have a Lego set. I think the new Jurassic World film will have a wonderful Lego set if it doesn't already. All of these things are very exciting to me.
Sorry to cut you off, but it does seem like there's a lot of different directions that things could be going, whether they're going to go the avenue or not, or, there's good arguments to be made for both. But I will say, Read My Nature had a really good take on this, the comment, if you'd like to bring it up real quick here, Culture. Lego announced an X-Files set recently. They should make an X-Files Lego movie. Yeah, bring this thing up here. I think all of us on board here, on this panel here, can agree an X-Files Lego set would be fire. Am I wrong?
I think it would be fire. I don't see it, though. Please.
Read by Nature. One of the most recent.
Mine Lego? Wait. Is that it? No. Let me see if I can find the chat.
852, my friend.
Okay. Let me
Spencer, did you ever watch X-Files? I was always freaked out by the sea creature thingy.
Fluke Man?
There we go.
That might have been what it was called. I'm not for sure.
852. Here we go. Lego announced an X. That's crazy. And an X-File Lego movie? That'd be fun, I think.
Oh, that'd be fun. Hopefully you get David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson back.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Cool. I will buy every one of you three one of these sets if this becomes a reality.
That'd be amazing.
It'll be my gift to the arcade for you guys.
It's funny. Every Christmas in your stocking in my household, in my family, I should say, you were given a minifig, like in a little plastic package. Didn't even know what it was some of the times. It was so fun. Anyway, I'm just weird.
Kevin, do you have a lot of Legos in your family?
Not really. We're going to see what happens with Duke. He seems to like putting things together and smashing them apart. The girls didn't really care too much, but the Duke's there. We'll see. We'll see how this goes.
Give it time. Everybody loves Legos at one stage of their life, even if you get into it late. Spencer, did you ever get into Legos?
No, I was pretty poor growing up. So, I had the big tubs of generic ones, and nowadays they're more
you're a Mega Bloks kid. No,
never got Mega Bloks, thankfully.
Duplo, brother. Duplo.
No, never got those. Thank God. Oh my, I would never be able to show my face in public. All right, I am for the common man, but I'm still classist to a certain extent. But nowadays they're just too it makes me really sad because I feel like Lego has priced out their target demo for
I think so, too.
children.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I what about, I want to go buy let's say like a Batmobile set for my kid. Okay, good luck finding one that's under 60. And then if you want one that's actually the Batmobile, well, you're buying like whatever those, Nolan, you probably know what they are, the like black box premier ones or whatever that are like $900. And it's like, what are we doing here, everyone? What are we doing
The
here?
classy Lego sets.
Yeah, the class. Oh gosh.
Real quickly. Oh, go ahead.
I was like, isn't that the problem with the entirety of toy collecting now anyway? It's been outpriced for the man baby.
Dude,
The collectors.
Yeah, like it's priced out for the man babies, and it's also the like man babies like me. I'm saying it for myself, but it's also like they only distribute it to them now. I don't know if you guys saw, but Marvel Legends, like Hasbro, they announced a line of Marvel versus Capcom figures, only Marvel guys, but still nonetheless inspired by their looks. Yeah, they're awesome. But then they went, I knew Kevin. Oh yeah, Kevin, we talked about this. But then they, instead of making it like, oh, they're freely available here, we're gonna make them everywhere. Like one set is exclusive to this store, one set is exclusive over here. And it's like, this is so complicated. Like this is not helpful to a kid who's like, oh, maybe I played a lot of Marvel versus Capcom with my dad. I want to grab all those figures. And it's like, well, kid, I hope you're ready to give up 2 weeks of your education to sit at home and like refresh, because otherwise you're not getting
Darn right.
When I was many moons ago, when I was a younger man, I was a manager at a KB toy store. And one of my jobs was to babysit the Lego aisle and the action figure aisle. Because the collectors, the sharks we used to call them,
man,
pretty much they got like a hold of the manifesto. They knew like what boxes would be coming in on what days.
Yeah.
I essentially had to police it and make sure that they only walked away with one of whatever they were there for, so that the kids could come in and actually get something later. You fast forward and go, what happened? How did we drop the ball on this?
We need more systems like that. One of my favorites is, so in the Mobile Suit Gundam series, there is a suit called the New Gundam, like NU. So the like the Greek letter for it. And for those who don't know the Greek alphabet, the new sign is very, very similar to a V. It's just got like a little tail on it and it's lowercase. So they released a really, really high quality, super limited one earlier this year, like a model kit earlier this year. And to buy it, you had all stores were told, like, you have to ask them specifically what they're here for. Like, they cannot just point at the box or say like the New Gundam. You have to say, which model kit are you here for? And if they say the V Gundam, you turn them away because they are not a collector and they don't know what the hell they're asking for. And I'm like, we need more of that. I don't care if the studio, like whoever is supplying the toys, needs to give a financial bonus to the employees at whatever store, but let's get that going again. Or get it going over here, rather.
Well said. Well said. And speaking of getting it going again, guys, I think it's time for the next story. Would anyone disagree here?
I do not disagree. Let's do it.
All right. Coming once again from the good folks at My Nintendo News. From good old Sicker, Japan Nintendo dominates with Switch 2 selling 140K. Mario Kart World, #1. Numero uno, everybody. So the article goes on to say, the Nintendo Switch 2 has proved to be immensely popular in Japan, with recent sales data from Famitsu showing that Nintendo's latest platform is a force to be reckoned with. Nintendo shifted 140,026 Nintendo Switch consoles on the 16th June of 2025 to the 22nd of June 2025. The best-selling video game was Mario Kart World, shifting an additional 122,578 physical copies. Hot dang. And the article goes on to show some of the pricing and just how Mario Kart World just kind of going away with it compared to the competition. Gentlemen, are you surprised by all this despite the controversy? Culture, I'll start with you.
No, because I agree with Ninja Pat. It's the only game.
Well said. I feel that way too. No, culture. How could you forget Nintendo Switch Welcome Tour? The greatest tutorial ever known. Like, you can pay a nice $9.99 for that game. Don't you want to experience that beautiful tutorial that looks like the most low-budget indie game possible?
No.
Hater. He's hating on Nintendo over here. Kevin, can you give us a non-hater take and talk about the brilliance of Welcome Tour?
No.
I think I'm getting outnumbered here. Yeah, no, I agree. Welcome Tour was a bunch of hot garbage. But yeah, no, Mario Kart World, I mean, it's a recognizable brand. Have any of you guys gotten a chance to experience the new game at all?
No.
There was a long silence. I see why we're not Japanese here, because it seems Japan wanted to buy this game. You know what? Okay, I'll go and weigh in here. I have played the new Mario Kart World, actually not as much as I want to, and I can say with confidence, I already like this game much better than Mario Kart 8. I feel like this game has a lot more spunk, as the kids say. Like, it's got cool outfits, it's open world, which is a nice little distraction, when you're waiting for a new online race to start up. It gives you a fun little lobby, just, a little quirky thing. It's the little details that make the game magical. Now, unfortunately, even if the game was probably half as good, it would probably still dominate for the pure fact that, it's the pack-in title for if you got that variant, and there's not a lot to really compare with unless you want to play an overpriced tutorial. Any disagreements on that, gentlemen?
You are forgetting Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was vastly improved.
Compared to this game?
No.
Or you mean just better in general,
time.
This game?
Yeah, at the time. And I liked the fact that from a long way above Earth, you had unique tracks, which we covered on a very early episode of That Game Place. But when I look overall, I would say that the additions that are made to this game look great, but you have to A, have a Switch 2, and B, then buy this game, which is the most expensive Nintendo game right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Do you think there exists anybody on this planet? This is a theory for everybody and everyone in the audience. Is it even possible that someone bought a Switch 2 but did not buy Mario Kart 8? Like, what else would you do with that thing? Like, I don't think that's possible. It seems like chaos theory. Kevin, do you disagree?
It's got to be at least one. There's at least one person. Some grandma who didn't know.
I think it's a GameCube enthusiast. What a clube is, whatever that. I want to buy that. But Spencer, what do you think? I mean, was the primary target audience going to be a Mario Kart fan with this Switch 2, or was it going to be like more games than just one?
Well, our friend Spencer had to bail for a minute because he was just so excited to go buy a copy of Mario Kart World because he saw that headline and he's like, I'm going to get in on that. But so, I do... Go ahead.
No, the thing that bothers me the most is that the only way to really enjoy that game is with the interconnectivity of the now subscription service chat feature. Because really, that's kind of one of the few things that differentiates it from other games. And I'm not sure if third-party developers are going to utilize that quote-unquote chat feature as much, or the interactivity with it between that and the game. I don't know. What I do know is this. You need to have more than one first-party title. And the third-party games need to be amazing. And as much as I'm looking forward to Bonanza... I don't even know how to say that. The new Donkey Kong game. I still am not going to go buy a Switch 2 for it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad you brought up the third parties, actually, because if we can bring up the next story on this coming from that Park Place here, I think it kind of brings everything full circle on the situation that's currently affecting the Switch 2. And this comes from our pro editor-in-chief Marvin Montanaro of Tooneytown TV, doing some amazing work for that Park Place. Please check out the website. That man works his booty off. If we say booty on YouTube. Anyway, the title says Switch 2 third-party games flop at launch, while Nintendo titles dominate the sales. A new report from The Game Business, authored by respected industry analyst Chris String, sheds light on early sales trends for the recently launched Switch 2, and the numbers reveal a stark divide between Nintendo's first-party success and third-party struggles. According to launch data from Nielsen IQ, a staggering 86% of physical games for Switch 2 in the UK were Nintendo-published titles, a figure heavily influenced by the inclusion of Mario Kart World in the hardware bundle. When excluding the bundle, Nintendo still accounted for 48% of game sales, showing a strong hold on consumer interest even without pack-in assistance. In the US, data for Circana indicates a similar trend. There are 68% of game sales were for first-party titles, again excluding the Mario Kart bundle. While these numbers are slightly lower than the launch of the original Switch, where first-party games made up 89% of UK sales and 81% in the US, the Switch 2 debuted with a significantly larger library of games, which makes first-party dominance all the more notable. So this is interesting. It goes on to say that Cyberpunk, of all games, tops third-party, but most publishers struggle. Among third-party offerings, Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition emerged as the best-selling non-Nintendo title at launch. Its success is partially credited to including the full game on a physical cartridge, in contrast to the unpopular game keycard, ooh, that's a can of worms, format used by most other third-party games. These game keycards provide a download code inside the case rather than a playable cartridge, something many collectors and physical media fans have rejected outright. Sega performed relatively well, becoming the third largest third-party publisher on the platform at launch. Titles like Sonic X Shadow Generations, Yakuza 0, Director's Cut, and Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S helped the company carve out a modest presence. However, not all publishers are pleased with the results. One unnamed third-party executive told The Game Business that launch sales came in below our lowest estimates, despite what they described as remarkably strong hardware sales for the system itself. All right, this is a bit of an issue looking like going forward for third-party devs. Who would like to take the mic first on this crazy situation the developers are facing? Kevin,
I'm not going to have a positive. I'm not going to have a positive response. I'm going to let Kevin talk.
Yeah, let's see. I'll try to
give us the sunshine and rainbows, Kevin. Tell us how great this is.
I don't. Is anybody really surprised? I mean, after what? If we're going, once you got out of Super Nintendo's, Nintendo hasn't exactly been kind to third-party developers. If I'm getting a Nintendo, I'm getting a Nintendo for Nintendo games. Although, yes, I am someone who does lament having to go buy other systems to do other things, but I don't know. I'm not surprised here. I think if Nintendo wants to, and I think we talked about this once before on Toonie Town. I thought that probably some of Nintendo's odd behavior was them positioning themselves to fill Xbox's void. If they do in fact decide to stop making physical consoles. Nintendo's got to do a lot of work in educating their fans to go pick up third-party games on their system. At the end of the day, if I want to play, I don't know, like let's say, if I want to play GTA, I'm not going to get it on a Switch. I'm going to get it on a more powerful system that's going to give me more bang for my buck. And I'm just not shocked. I don't, without wanting to go deep into the woods and poo-poo on everybody's parade, I'm not shocked that this is happening.
Look, you have to be willing to sacrifice a certain amount to develop for something that's an underdeveloped platform. And when it comes to graphical power and things like that, look, there's no argument to be made there. I think you're 100% right. But the other problem is that if they're going to try to compete with the pricing for the Nintendo first party title, notice how that's singular, by the way. You're creating a nightmare for yourself if you're a third-party game developer. So, like, we had a suggestion earlier in the chat that all you need is a PC and a Switch. I would Switch to specifically. I could agree with that to some extent, but at the same time, I'd be like, you're limiting a lot of these third-party titles if you do that, because you're not gonna get things that are gonna be naturally on the consoles, like not this console, but on let's say Xbox or on Sony PlayStation. Will my experience on a PlayStation be vastly different than when I play it on Switch? Probably. My expectation would be that. At the same time that if I play GTA 6 on my PC is like twice to three times as powerful as a PS5. So, I'm like, it's no doubt that one of the reasons why we're going to see delayed development is for the same reason that made Rockstar successful in the past, that they just release incrementally their titles. They have an opportunity to collect more money. And, and every time there's a new generation of consoles, which we're not that far away from the starting of the development process, we've started to already hear rumors about that for the PlayStation 6 and for Xbox's next thing and so on and so forth. My expectation is that, there's going to be a hard fight, a hard climb for third-party titles for the Switch too, because there's not enough first-party titles yet. And again, a lot of people have made arguments about why didn't I buy a Switch 2 right away? First-party titles.
Hey, well said. I've just been honestly in a bit of a state of shock here because when the original Nintendo Switch launched back in 2017, I was there, day one. I was at that Best Buy. I was there. And I was done midnight launch. Maybe I'm a fake gamer. Who knows? But I remember, like, you had Breath of the Wild and 1-2 Switch, and those were basically the only relevant games. There might have been Super Bomberman R, that might have been around there, but there just wasn't very much, and it was so understandable because of, what was happening with the Wii U. They had struggled with third-party support, and they kind of fumbled out of the gate, and it hurt them throughout the whole span of the console. And I was expecting, with how amazing of a lineup in games the Nintendo Switch had, it reminded me of the 3DS back in the day, the PlayStation 2 back in the day. There's just, everyone wants to develop for it because everybody has it. Now with this one, I'm surprised that they decided this was going to be our launch setup, and that's what it was going to be. I'm sure there's more business logistics to go into it. I'm not even going to claim to have all the insight that the CEOs behind the companies have, but I just can't but feel like it comes down to basic logic in some ways that people will buy a game system, even if it's underpowered, just for the hot game. We saw that with Pokemon in the late 1990s. We saw that, honestly, quite a bit with the Nintendo Switch in the latter years, and even the Nintendo Wii. And I'm just a little surprised that it wasn't a bigger thing. And I feel like Nintendo just keeps... I alluded to it a bit in one of my articles I did for the website about my Switch 2 review, where I felt like I'm surprised that they keep playing with fire, so to speak, to have these weak launch lineups, when I feel like if you had some stronger titles, people will want to get in while the getting's good, and it's just going to become the hot thing that all the cool kids are playing. Perhaps I'm wrong. Spencer, you can
I actually disagree with this read. I disagreed with this read entirely because that launch lineup is not so. First of all, I agree with Caffeinated Wolf that calling this a Switch Pro is completely disingenuous. That would be saying, oh, the PlayStation 3 is just a PS2.5. PlayStation 4 is just a PS2. What do you guys want from hardware upgrades? I'm sorry that this doesn't have a feather duster that comes out and tickle your balls, but it is a next gen hardware console. Second, if we're talking about the fact that none of these third-party games are selling, you're all ignoring the fact, and you're not talking about the game key stuff and how all of these games, except for Cyberpunk, do not come completely on the cartridge, and everybody knows that. So if we know that, oh, I don't own that game if I buy it, why would people go out and buy the physical one? They'll buy the digital one. This is only talking about the physical sales. It's not saying all sales are bad. Nobody bought these games. they're just because there's still the digital angle. This is just talking about physical, and you can't talk about this topic without acknowledging the game key setup.
Hey, good point. I mean, that's a good way to look at it. You know, like we have been in a spot for a very long time now. I'm sure every single one of us here remembers when the Ubisoft dude was like, hey, gamers need to get comfortable with no longer owning their games. And it's something that I think we've all been very afraid of. And if that could be impacting, you know, these sales, you know, a complete rejection of what's going on, you know, how these numbers are ran very different, you know, compared to what we've had in the past. There's a lot of factors that go into it, and it just shows a lot of good reason to be concerned as a gamer. And I really hope that there is some changes coming on the horizon that could hopefully, you know, make up for what we're currently facing here. Because, you know, whenever you see headlines, what way your angle is on it, when you see that, you know, sales are looking bad, sales are looking low, you know, there's probably a reason behind it, unless it's very a niche thing, you know. If like the reason people are rejecting because of the game keys, or, you know, people are opting for, you know, a different avenue, you know, money's tight with the economy. There's a lot of issues going here, and I just hope, you know, looking to the future, instead we're going to be, you know, praising, you know, hey, we got all these great physical sales, we got all these amazing, you know, games that are selling off the shelves, and it's these early days are testing a lot of the wire, so to speak, and I really hope that Nintendo's got a good future going forward, because, you know, you never know what the future holds.
I do think this is a little bit of people need to be paying attention to the canary in the coal mine. You know, again, Ubisoft, yeah, either the you know, the CEO was very clear. You need to get used to not owning things and liking it. Meanwhile, what was their fate ultimately? People do not want to go purchase a game and then find out in 5 years that you can't access the game you liked because of the political climate, or the game didn't sell well enough and we're not going to support the server. If I buy something, I want to own it, and I want to be able to grab it and play it 20 years later if I took care of my stuff, and play it like how I remembered it. I'm not here to license. You know, if I'm dropping $70, $80, I'm not doing this to be told, well, all you do is get a licensing fee. So you don't have this game when we choose for you not to have this game. There's a reason why the market for retro games is exploding. People want to own their content, and fine, the third-party games aren't selling. I'm sure there's multiple layers to it, but yeah, the digital keyed card thing was irritating to almost everybody. And if this is the reason why these third-party games aren't selling, well then, folks, it's time to wake up and realize that you're about to have a very disastrous run with this gaming console, and hopefully everybody else is paying attention and doesn't decide to do this garbage on the other consoles. Because if I can't own it, I'm not getting it.
That's a very good point, Kevin. I can't agree enough more, and I'm like, all you guys are bringing very, very good points here, and like, it just goes at the end of the day, people want to, when they pay money, they want to own it. Culture, give us one more take before we close out this story, please.
I think Kevin was very eloquent, and this is the problem that I have with terms of service that are, you know, thicker than the Bible or War and Peace. I have a real problem with a lot of these EULAs and everything else that show up, and the fact that they can update them and fist you after the fact that you bought something. All of those things frustrate me, anger me. I think that when you buy something, it's yours, and the company that, you know, created it loses control. And that's all this is. It's a form or a matter of control. We need to have the end user license only be applicable to the moment you actually buy the game. And I think that everybody should own what they buy. And I think that we need here in this country regulations that back that up. We used to have that. I don't know what happened, why corporations were allowed to create things like subscription models for access to their stuff. It's not like anything they do is of any great import when they do any kind of update anyway. As a matter of fact, it oftentimes nerfs what you're able to do initially with what, you know, you bought in the first place. All of that should be rendered inert. And if you buy something anywhere in the United States, you own it. That's it. You don't need to subscribe to, John Deere Care if you own a tractor, and you don't need to, follow up on, at whatever Apple thinks that it needs to do next or control your data. I think that everything, when you buy something, they can neither control the data, the information, or anything else from that point forward, including how or why you use the software in the first place. Sorry.
It's a nice pipe dream, but thanks to everybody who voted in the completely dipshit MAGA Congress we have, that's not going to happen. We're rolling back every consumer protection. So get ready to subscribe to Water, everybody.
Comedy Central is crying again. Language, my friend, language.
Well, if people aren't going to take this seriously, I'm not going to.
Oh, no. Hey, wait. I want to bring seriousness to all of you guys. Like, anything we can do to make sure every voice and opinion is seen and heard, we got a chance for it, and we'll do what we can to bring that for all of us, and that includes our beautiful people in the chat and on this panel. Just let me know if you ever need to bring something up. So anyways, I think we'll wrap up that story. Culture, can we bring up some of our beautiful audience members and hear some of their takes on everything? Because I think their voice should be heard just as much as everyone here.
You betcha. Read by nature for part of the retro craze isn't just because people want to have something that they own, but also because modern gaming is failing to produce as good content as they used to. I have no argument for that. Do you guys?
No.
Yes, because we can say that all we want. Sales numbers prove different. Everybody says, oh, I don't want, this is stupid. This is stupid. And then the dumbest games keep selling super well. Heard a bunch of people in this sphere going, Doom Eternal sucks. I don't want to play Doom Eternal. They ruined the formula. It still sold relatively well. So
I wouldn't even know.
Doom Eternal.
Well, I didn't buy it, nor was I even
I know
interested.
You wouldn't know because nobody wants to interrogate information here. We just want to say points. Come on, guys. We can be better for our audience.
Yeah, we'll do the best we can. We'll do everything we can to give the best we can and give them truth as accurately as we can give.
Caffeinated Wolf says the retro market is exploding among collectors. Physical copies for most retro games worth having, let alone playing, are horrendously priced on the secondhand market. I've seen that myself. Most people just emulate it. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people doing emulated copies of things. The problem is that I think that your game is only as good as the latest copy of whatever you're emulating, rather than what was originally provided. And I mean, I have access to ROM copies of classic arcade games, and like when you possess the actual arcade game, like in my garage right now is an actual full-size Tutankhamun game. The ROM copy that I have just doesn't seem to play the same, because the chip speed and all the other things that were like part of the original board when they built the game, vastly different than what is being emulated because of the variance of computer speeds and the graphical context and everything else. So it's just a little different. And I think that most people need to recognize that copies or emulations are not necessarily like playing the original. I know that sounds odd, but if you're really looking for a pure experience, I don't think you get it out of emulation. Anybody else want to weigh in on that one?
Disagree, but what's to argue? That's a subjective opinion.
Yeah. Well,
no, it's subjective. I'm not going to argue again because that's what culture prefers. He doesn't think it. I disagree. Everybody's going to have a different read because everybody has their preferred. That's one of the things with video games and all art, right? It's the personal experience with it. So culture might not have that feeling playing a ROM, but I know I do. I know when I play my ROM of Mega Man X, it makes me feel exactly the same, and especially if I do it on a controller, exactly the same as when I was 10 years old playing it. So it all boils down to the individual.
Is this why you didn't help me carry my super heavy CRT TV when I moved it all the way from out of state and drove several hours? Is that why you didn't help me with that?
First of all, a 36-inch Pro Scan television is technically a monitor is incredibly heavy. I don't even think Kevin would have wanted to help you with that one. Yeah. First of all, you have to offer pizza first, and then we can talk about it.
Well, thanks for these super chats. I think I might be able to fund you that, thankfully, for a nice audience out there.
Fair
but
enough.
to this day, my car, which is, I love my car, and even if it has hail damage right now, but that's beside the point, the emergency brake still is messed up on the rubber because I tried to put a CRT in a sports car, and that was, yeah, guys, don't ever do that to yourselves. It was painful. It was worth it, but it was painful. But you know what's not painful? Getting to our next story. Wouldn't you read culture? I think I have it ready to go whenever you are, good sir.
Well, there we go.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. This is coming from Game Rat yet again. Thank you, Game Rat, for help with this article here. The headline says, 100% sure Resident Evil Requiem leaker doubles down on Leon being the main character. So we're going to some leak territory. And this article is by Dalton Cooper. So thank you for him for that article. The article states, a leaker with a proven track record insists that the main character of Resident Evil Requiem is Leon S. Kennedy. Resident Evil Requiem was first announced at the end of Summer Game Fest, 2025, with the game seemingly revealing Grace Ashcroft as the protagonist. However, rumors and leaks have suggested that Capcom is pulling a fast one on fans, and the true main character of Resident Evil Requiem will be none other than Leon Kennedy. Leon has been a fan favorite character among Resident Evil fans since he first appeared in Resident Evil 2. Following Resident Evil 2, Leon was the star of Resident Evil 4, widely considered not only one of the best Resident Evil games, but one of the best video games ever made. Yeah, it had a chainsaw controller. Did any of you guys ever have the chainsaw controller?
No.
I guess we're lame. We didn't have the chainsaw. Leon also appeared in Resident Evil 6 and the remakes of Resident Evil 2 and 4, plus has been featured in various canon CG movies. And I'm sure they were better than the Silent Hill movies. At the recent Capcom Spotlight event, the Resident Evil Requiem... let me phrase that better. At the recent Capcom Spotlight event, the Resident Evil Requiem Leon rumors were addressed by game director Koshi Naka-Inchi. So, my apologies if I mispronounced your name, good sir. Nakakanchi explained that, wow, I can't say that name. Explained that while the team considered the option of making Leon the main character of Resident Evil Requiem, they decided he wasn't a good fit for horror. Some took this to mean that Leon is not in the game, but Leaker, Aesthetic Gamer / Dusk Golem, has doubled down on their claim that the fan favorite character is indeed Requiem's main character. Aesthetic Gamer said, I'm 100% sure Leon is the protagonist still, pointing out that Requiem isn't going to be a pure horror game and claiming Capcom is baiting you guys 100%, which would be kind of true with some of the stuff we come to expect from entertainment these days, in my opinion here. He goes to show in a X post about how RE9's visual motif is metal and noir. The last couple of Resident Evil games, Village and RE4, were set in rural surrounded by nature settings, so urban environments with a strong sense of iron and metal was focal at RE9. Which goes to show some shots of it. Now, you note here, before I start talking about Grace, as there's a lot to say, I'll address the elephant in the room people want me to talk about. First, I'm 100% sure Leon is the protagonist still. Nakanishi talks about how they've always thought about making Leon the protagonist, and then the article goes on to say a bit more on the matter. Spencer, I'm going to give you the mic on this one. This is pure rumor and speculation territory. Do you think we'll get some Leon action up in this thing?
I'm gonna be honest with you. This isn't even me being like angry or anything. Like, I kind of don't care. I'm kind of burnt out on speculating about like future entries and like, is this person going to appear? Like, this is just on my experience. Like, after all the years of like MCU rumors and stuff, like, just give me the story at this point. If it's Leon, if it's Grace, I really don't care at this point. I'm not a stickler. I'm open for seeing anything. If people want to cry culture war about, oh, you made a female the character and not Leon, okay, who cares? Whatever, go cry. And also, like, if it's not Leon, oh well. I mean, we wouldn't have had Leon in the first place if we didn't switch pro tags from Chris, right? So, at this point, like with Resident Evil, or with anything, kind of just lay it on me when it gets here. And I also just don't, after all of this past year, especially with bullshit leakers, like everything that comes out of Endymion, I just don't trust any leaker at this point. Like everything, just if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, but nobody wants to interrogate it. So everybody just runs articles like this. And it's like, hey, maybe it's a dual protagonist thing. Does it have to be 100% Leon? No, but everybody wants to run with this specific rumor because it goes, yeah, I was right. So I'll see Resident Evil 9 when it comes out.
Hey,
Do you need a hug, bro?
No, I don't need a hug. I'm just, look, when I came back on, look, here's the honest truth, guys, is I'm so sick of culture war bullshit. I've been sick of it, and you guys all know this. When we did the original TGP, I was getting really grated that we were just doing this where people just say a point, nobody pushes back. And so what does that do for our viewers? It doesn't tell them the truth. It just either confirms their biases or ignores, you know, everything that's going on. We're doing no better for them than Kotaku. So when we get to regurgitating, oh, you know, this thing is woke, or what's this, you know, rumor saying, I really don't care, because that isn't relevant and it's distracting from the real issues we need to talk about. Like in this stream alone, we brought up so many issues that do apply to players, and instead of attacking or talking about what really matters, like digital ownership, we all have to go with, haha, these developers we don't like, their game sucks. That's not true. That's your opinion, but what is actually happening to cause this? So the more, like I said, if you guys don't want to take this seriously, I'm not going to take this seriously either. I love all three of you, but this is not the kind of discussion our viewers deserve.
I think we don't need to dive into a, you know, Lincoln Douglas debate style on whether or not it's fun to speculate if Leon is in the game or not. I mean, I was going to mention, well, it's probably a dual protagonist thing because that seems to work well for
Campbell. But when you
why not have fun
when you approach me going, "You okay, bro? Need a hug?" Like that's antagonistic. I'm not just going to sit here and roll over on it. We can talk about speculating it, but when that's your shot back at me, I'm gonna be honest with you because I respect you.
No, it's fine. I just, your intensity level is at a 52.
Because I really thought that with this new iteration of TGP, we were gonna do better. And when I come back on and it's the exact same stuff, it really breaks my heart.
I got you.
Well, we'll keep, you know what, we'll rebound, you know, like, we'll keep doing, we'll rebound after stream, we'll discuss some things, we'll do the best we can to, you know, give the viewers the best we possibly can. You know, there's all sorts of, different things, and trying to do the best we can, you know, to not make everything a culture war 100% of the time, and, you know, bring the fun back in, because I think that's part of the beauty of it, you know, it brings all of us together in very different ways from very different backgrounds, especially, you know, trying times like these, you know, where tension's high. We brought up some of the ways, you know, certain political spheres are going right now. But I think, you know, with enough work, and, you know, and I hope we can all work together on this to keep the channel going to where we need it to be. And I believe that true to my heart is, like, I think, like, if we have to be willing to look at stuff for improvement to continue to move forward and give the best experience for our viewers possible. So, but I think it's a good idea to hopefully wrap up this story and encourage, you know, seeing some more from, you know, what our viewers have to say, and wrap up these stories, and, you know, hopefully provide some good entertainment for the folks at home. Culture, would you like to share some of these to us?
Sure. Just saying hi to our friend Scott Summers out there in the chat. Great to see you, my friend. We've got several folks that have joined us since we started. I just want to say that it is great to see everybody come back to the channel as we are back in the live streaming mode on a Saturday night, which puts us in competition, I don't think with our hours with anybody else, but I think coming up later tonight would be... gosh, there's this guy named Yellow Flash that probably would be talking about things, including gaming. You've got just a lovely group of other humans out there in the world that just, you know, enjoy video games. It's great to see Caffeinated Wolf out there. And conversations about the retro market, I think, are really important these days. And I think that I think we're going to start seeing a comeback in a lot of retro style gaming. I've been enjoying what's happening on Steam with the various collections that are coming available. I don't know about the rest of you, but I think that's just a wonderful, wonderful thing. Let's see. I don't know. There's not a lot left to talk about, to be fair. I think that the biggest concern is from inside the industry, and we'll probably be talking about that for a long time because executives aren't super thrilled with what's happening inside the industry. Gamers aren't super happy with what's happening with the games that they're buying. So there's something in the middle out there, and I think that may or may not be. There's a little bit of respite in Steam because I always seem to be able to find something, and I feel like collectively I have a library I couldn't possibly play through at this point because I have a habit of buying games that look interesting that I just can't find time to play, and I can't be alone in that, to be fair, because I just feel like that's just kind of where the industry's headed. Is a lot more people connecting with stuff that maybe not as mainstream. And I think that's cool. I don't see, like I said, I don't see a lot of fresh content out there in comments.
You know what? I think that's a great point on all that. And you know what? I think I have the thing that's going to spark up some comments because this isn't just going to affect gaming. This might affect theme parks as well. Like, I want to give a bit of a fun story here for all of us to, viewers at home, the panel, to wrap up, get some excitement going. Because I don't want to, there's so much down news, about layoffs, and culture war and all the controversy. I really wanted to land something that I feel like everyone could get behind. Well, unless you hate Sonic the Hedgehog, then I can't help you there, bro. But what I can do is tell you about this article that comes from That Park Place, and it's by the wonderful Raven Redgrave, one of the writers over at That Park Place. Please check her out and support her and her husband, Master of the TDS. They put a lot of work into their stuff, and she's been doing amazing work on the site. She turned those articles out like mad. But anyways, the article's headline here is Sega Theme Park Entertainment Project in the Works, led by Sonic the Hedgehog Attractions. Sega is reportedly creating theme park attractions with Sonic the Hedgehog at the fore, according to a report from Attractions Magazine. The project is being developed in partnership with Tokyo-based firm Katana Inc., and will span everything from standalone Sonic attractions to full-scale indoor theme parks across the US, Europe, Japan, and South America. Oh man, it's like Sonic Unleashed up in here. A long time coming. With this news has fans buzzing. It's not the first time Sega has hinted at ambitions beyond the console. As far back as 2016, Attractions Management reported that Sega Sammy Holdings was exploring indoor theme parks as part of a broader expansion into non-gaming ventures. For those unfamiliar, Sega Sammy is the parent company formed in 2004 when video game publisher Sega merged with Sammy Corporation, a major player in Japan's pachinko and amusement hardware industries. The result was a sprawling entertainment conglomerate. Does anyone know how to say that word? Raven, you stumping me. That's a good word you got right there. Conglomerate, that's the word. With interest in gaming, toys, and location-based attractions. And apparently they need to sell a dictionary in there for good old Nolan Thunder over here in the gift shop. At the time, Sega Sammy CEO Hajime Satomi stated that branching out into the theme park attractions and other real-world experiences was a key part of the company's long-term strategy. He even hinted that Sonic's emerging media presence, including early film plans, was just the beginning. Fast forward to 2025, and that long-term strategy appears to be accelerating, following the theatrical success of Sonic the Hedgehog 3. It seems that Sega is leaning into the franchise's mainstream popularity to push forward on a more immersive level, which, for those who see me on the other shows, on Pro's channel and That Park Place, I've been vouching for Universal or one of them needs to get into Sonic the Hedgehog. I heard talk that the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 toys, they actually underproduced and they had to try to produce more to keep up with the holiday season. I didn't fact check it, but that was some talk I heard. But I know there was definitely plenty of buzz, and the financials back it up on how well Sonic the Hedgehog 3 did. Culture, what do you think the future holds for Sonic and theme parks?
When I saw the story first, I was always wondering who they were going to team up with, and I always feel like you need to get with an established corporation to do this kind of a venture, and it looks like some of the details are here within the story, but to me, it's just like, well, what are you going to develop? What's going to be the solid several things that you can bring to the table when you have these quote unquote immersive theme parks, especially if they're indoors? To me, a theme park isn't complete without a bunch of legendary attractions that are contained within. And if these are if they're utilizing off the shelf things, I think that's going to be a problem. You know, as Attraction Magazine suggests in this article, that you can expect a bunch of obstacle course style attractions inspired by the platforming games. I just don't know necessarily how that translates. I want this to be good, just like I, want all of the, Hollywood Horror Nights, secondary locations across the country, that are proposed to be doing well. What's the build out for a Sega centered set of attractions? And are you dividing them up into lands, or are you just assuming this is all Sonic? I don't think I have enough information to make an evaluation other than to just say that there definitely is plenty that they could exploit and utilize. A lot of it's going to depend on who they're partner with as far as the quote unquote park developments that they're talking about. I had suggested originally that they work with like Merlin, which is, responsible for running a lot of UK attractions, Alton Towers and other things like that. But I think that's what it all comes down to. And if you have high quality attractions designers, like all the ones that Universal Creative stole from Disney, then I think you're going to be in good shape. But look, if you're looking for mid-level, child babysitters, I'm sure they're capable of doing that. I don't know what we don't have indications of what they're thinking. So,
what do you think, Kevin?
I think on the surface it's a good idea, but yeah, if you're going to do attractions, especially with a brand like Sonic, you really have to put a lot of thought into how it's going to be unique. Or I'll say, like Culture said, it's going to be a glorified babysitting service. At Indoor Park, you do have a lot of pretty neat options, but if you're going to do Sonic is a big brand. You should be going pretty big. To me, especially with the speed element of it, how are you not doing something outdoors where you have a mega fast roller coaster that's ripping you through something like the chemical plant zone or the casino zone? It's Sonic is big, bold visuals. It's frenetic kinetic energy. So cool. You can run through an obstacle room or maybe do like some kind of weird Sonic inspired laser tag or like some kind of a weird funky ropes course thing, but you need more. If you're going to use Sonic, you need to have the veritable cherry on top of the sundae in order to sell this thing. Or it's just going to be you threw a brand, you threw a nice little a vinyl a vinyl coat on top of something else, and it could be Sonic, it could be Action Max, it could be it could be Dinosaurs. If you're not going to really embrace what makes Sonic unique and an IP that endures, you're kind of missing out. So I really hope they put extra thought into this. Again, the attractions industry. The other thing too is if you're not updating and evolving every 5 years, you're out here wasting money. So like they need to have a viable long-term strategy on how to make this work.
Really good point. I cannot agree more, actually. Spencer, give us your take on this.
So this is so fun. So first of all, in terms of like actual business and how they're going to apply it and everything, I think I'm with Culture right now. Like, yeah, cool. Go for it. But I don't know what you're aiming for. Is it going to be all Sonic? Is it all Sega? Yada, yada, yada. Totally there with Culture. But it's funny because what Kevin just hit. So I was just like you, Kevin, like when this topic came up, like when my mind went to what would we get out of a Sega like theme park or a Sonic theme park thing? I was like you. I was like, he's like a fast guy. He's more about like action. yeah, we think about, you know, Nintendo Land because it's so good and it's so new, but I think we all tend to forget like that is technically way more like general audience, like younger kid oriented, not like baby, you know, Toon Park or Baby Park Mario Kart style, but just like for younger kids, right? Like Sonic will say crap. Like whoa, too edgy for me, man. Like wow. So I like as soon as culture. So I was like you, Kevin. I was like, what are they gonna do? Is it gonna be like one of those old? Remember when they used to make like what were they like on the PCs? The like play centers. It was like a collection of like 6 or 7 like kitty mini games, right? Like for every brand got one. Like and it had like Sonic Checkers or whatever the heck. Like, is it gonna be something
Sonic
like
popsicles?
Well, I mean that's a food. Okay. You keep reacting to things in the digital like sense, like they're real, and I'm starting to question whether you're like a Digimon or a real person. But
I will not answer that question, Spencer.
Look at this. Everybody bookmark this, clip it. Intelligent life is discovered here. Not on my end, but with Nolan. But as soon as culture was like, what are they going to do? Are they going to do roller coasters? I went, oh my God. Do you, and this is the only idea that I came up with, but I think this is sort of where we all should maybe start hoping towards or think more towards is like, remember Six Flags, like the Riddler rides or the Batman rides where you stand kind of, there you go. Yep. Just
stand up
paint
coasters.
Paint it blue, baby. And then you could also do something like some coasters that are themed after Eggman's little like flying ship thing, or you could do a kiddie ride that is Tails' tornadoes.
Spencer, I hate to cut you off, but you talk about the stand-up roller coasters, and I've heard word that those things are exponentially painful. So I ask you a question.
I defer to you. I will absolutely defer to you.
No. I shall theme it to Sonic 06 because it's a painful experience. Like, right?
Well, I mean, it's also appropriate for Sonic 06 because if the worst injury you can get on a standing coaster is like your neck pops off, right? Because you slip out. And if you guys remember the graphical glitches in Sonic 06 where they did like the head, the princess's head would stay in one spot and the rest of the model would like go normal. It makes sense. I see it. I see the vision, Nolan.
There's so many possibilities here. I could have a field. That's going to be my next video. Just 20,000 ideas for Sonic rides.
You should actually. I think that would be a complete banger. I'm jealous that you had that idea.
But there's
thank you. We might have to collab on something like that. Maybe we can even make that a special video for that game place at some point too. We can do something right out of left field. But yeah, no, I'm gonna say we'll kind of put a end on that. Thank you to Raven for writing this up. And I mean, I think this is a really good sign, you know, when all of us, like, I'm assuming I'm the biggest Sonic nerd out of everyone. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on that. But I can see loads of potential. We all seem like we all have kind of like some theories of what you can do. It seems like it's a perfect fit for video games. And as we saw in the 90s, you know, Mario came along, you know, got the video game industry back on track. And then Sonic came around and kind of did something a bit more fancy with it, you know, with its graphics, its glass processing. And maybe with the theme parks, history will repeat itself. And hopefully it doesn't end up...
Mario Land becomes like the eternal sort of theme park land, like Toontown. And then Sonic is the one that like always gets updated every stupid year.
I love the rabbit hole or the hedgehog hole that we can have with this. But
Sonic Land does, but Nintendo don't.
Oh my God! Heck yeah!
Culture, you want to bring up some comments here before we close this bad boy out?
Certainly, it looks like some people are thinking that, like, you know, you could do an ocean hunter in the theme park. Yeah, you could do Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii features, unlockable emulations of older Sega games. I think, sure.
Davina, I actually think the idea of Pirate Yakuza would be a really good like thing to use for like a Waterworld-esque live show, right? Like have, because that's a lot of what comes from Yakuza is like the goofiness of the characters. So have all your crazy stage actors doing flips and yelling really loud, and then you have pyrotechnics and water skis, and come on, that's like the best live attraction at any theme park.
I'll
defend that on that park place to the death.
I think that would be a great show, to be fair. But look, I'm gonna agree with bass player Iffy on this one. If you know how to ride a stand-up coaster, they're fine. I used to ride Batman and other coasters like that at Six Flags Magic Mountain all the time. So I'll just say.
But here's what you and bass player are forgetting, Culture, and this is what I was gonna say to bass player a second ago: is we have to remember, us and our viewers and the readers of TPP, we're generally smarter than a lot of people. So, like, the reason signs exist for things like that is because somebody was dumb enough to not know how to write it. So,
don't shower with your hair dryer, okay? Anyway.
It's surprisingly common.
That's crazy. But look, I mean, Sega does have material. It's just, I think we're left with nothing but questions after that conversation, because it's like, so what will you possibly, it's not like there's, because I'm sorry, if you actually played Sega, or whether it be the Genesis or Dreamcast or any of those things, you understand that there's like an enormous library of opportunities that are actually first party titles for Sega, you know, not to mention there are go back in 100%. Arcade. Yeah.
No, you're totally right, Culture. And even support your point. It's like, you know, it has all those games, but like Culture's saying, we really only lean to Sonic. And I mean, that's what kind of Sega's doing too. Remember, that like this always makes me laugh. They started doing their MCU style intro for the Sonic movies, where it like, remember, like it fades in with like screenshots of all their games, and it says like Sega. And I'm like, what? No, like you don't do anything with any of these. Like you own them, but you don't ever. Who knows what? Like again, all of us here generally run a little older, so like we know things like Echo the Dolphin or Phantasy Star, but nobody else is gonna. Like the Zoomers don't know it. There are no Sega skins in Fortnite. Let's put it that way.
True.
Well, you know, maybe this is why Disney needs to be the one to look at it, because, you know, they keep pulling back from, you know, older franchises, whether the people want it or not. Maybe we can get a sweet Echo the Dolphin simulator or something like that, or Submerged Voyage, or a Knight's coaster or something, like a VR experience.
I tell you what, there's a movie about to come out, Spencer, that I know you're aware of, called Outrun, based on the Sega game Outrun.
Okay.
I think.
Is that the one? Is that the Sydney Sweeney one?
Yes, it is. Yeah. So I'm
that's going to do well.
I'm thinking, well, you can make a car racing like attraction where you put two cars up against each other on a drag strip, and you know.
Okay, Culture, you're thinking way too hard here, guys.
I know.
Do that. No. Like you're doing well. Like if you were an Imagineer or whatever the universal version is like, you would be on point. But I'm here to break the paradigms, bro.
Okay. All right.
All you need to do is rent. Like, you don't need to build a big attraction. Just build like a giant like the Sphere in Vegas, right? Like just make a big theater like that, not the big displays outside, just that big theater. When you are filming Outrun, put a camera on the dashboard for all of Sydney Sweeney's scenes.
There you go.
Put that in the theater. You have just won the theme park competition. Euro Disney is done. It is now Euro Epic. Call me later.
Oh, well, I have to say, I appreciate all the support in the audience. It looks like there's 550 of you out there, which is just amazing. And and again, that's spread across the platforms we're broadcasting on right now, which actually, you know, includes X. So that might be a misleading number, but we appreciate your support wherever you are.
Not misleading if you believe it.
I'm always skeptical about the Twitch, the X stuff, but and the Twitch stuff. To be fair, but I will say this: we had a great time doing this. We reached our last story. Nolan, how do you want to get us out of here? This is you.
I have a plan here, sir. I think
right.
the best way to do it is, you know, everyone comes on here, you know, they put a good while of their time into thing. I think the best thing we can do here at That Game Place is to make sure everyone has a chance to do a plug at the end here. Spencer, where can the people find you if they want to hear some more about what's happening over at Bound in the Comics?
You know what? You don't need this ain't about me. I'm going to use my time to promote TPP and Marvin's work over there covering video games. Him and Nolan absolutely killing it, especially with the news on the Switch 2 consoles, because
Thank you.
I know I have Ryan over on Bounding, but you guys have been annihilating us. Like you've been one step ahead of us. But yeah, so go check them out. Subscribe to everybody here. Go, catch Kevin on Thursdays, Nolan on. I forget what everybody's streaming schedules exactly are. I just wait for the notifications. Check them all out here. And Fortnite hit the gritty. I literally have no way to end this.
Thank you, Spencer. Kevin, you're up. Tell the good folks where they can find it. I know Spencer brought up a little bit, but tell them a little more about it. What you have come in the pipeline here.
You can find me in the Marvverse on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and
Marvverse,
and Wednesday nights in the Pro Show, and at some point in time in July, Lauren, Connor, and I will be teaming up for Lauren and Apollo versus the World. And
Hercules.
I'm excited for that.
I'll actually launch my own channel. I still don't have a name yet, though. I can't decide. This is hard. Like, what you have in here?
Get in the orange.
That's the chat. See if they can weigh in.
Something about Creed. I don't know. Anyway,
I was thinking about House of Apollo.
I like that. I like that better. House of Apollo.
Like it.
Or whatever night you're on. Yeah, whatever night you're on, to be like Tuesdays at the Apollo. Done, easy. You might be the first black guy to have done that.
It might be two for that one though.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe.
Culture, you're up, man. Tell people about the 6 Minute Daily. I want to hear about this.
Yeah, you can find the 6 Minute Daily on weekdays. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to tell you that Spencer undersells everything they do over at Bounding Into Comics. I always look at that source for stories every single day and their individual takes and knowledge on a given subject. I think that that's really important. And as much as I appreciate my companions and compatriots over at that Park Place, I think it's you have about 3 or 4 really good sites that are run in our sphere, and you know what? At least you can count on what they're telling you because it's full of factual information, and there's not a whole lot of that anywhere these days. So do check that out, and of course check out my new channel, Campione Reacts, because I got to tell you, the ladies that are over there are making me look really good. I look less dumb surrounded by beautiful women. So who would have thunk it?
Well, thank you, Culture. Yeah, be sure to check him out, folks. We have such amazing people here. I will do the last plug here. Check me out on my channel at Nolan Thunder. I do video game documentaries on internet mysteries, urban legends, all sorts of stuff, hoaxes. Even some of those mysteries end up being true. I currently have a documentary in production on Super Mario 64 for the Nintendo 64. The rumor around the street is that this game was actually built with an experimental artificial intelligence that might have been unstable, causing some ill intent for the players, and I'll leave it at that. It's a very strange rabbit hole, and I've worked on this thing for like a year, so if that interests you, please check out my series, Lost in the Files. It's a mix of B-movie horror, comedy, and documentary, so if that floats your boat, please check me out at Nolan Thunder. And I also want to say...
You're forgetting the most rousing endorsement you've gotten. Little crybaby Matt Walsh thought he could like pee on Nolan's parade. That means Nolan has good content. He's happy. You want to watch him. You don't want to listen to it's stupid to love your kids. If you love your kids, you're gay. Okay.
I had to say I was so sad that I was sick when that happened because I was loaded for bear. You don't pick
dude, I was so sad I got to it like 2 days after it happened. I was ready to go.
I still love Nolan punching blocks. I think that's cool as heck. So there's that.
Thank you.
Well,
this is how you know you're surrounded.
Sorry, Nolan. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I just want to say this is how you know you're surrounded by good friends, and you always want to surround yourself with people that's got your back, and will help you for better. When you're making good choices, bad choices, all those. You want the best people you can get around you. And I wanted to transition this to also saying thank you to everyone in the chat today. I know it'd been a bit of a gap from our last stream, but y'all showed up. And I think we had some fun engaging with you guys, and I cannot thank you enough, especially for the generous super chats, and, new time, a lot of stuff shifting around, but I'd say, I'm very happy to see how you guys reacted, and I heard some of you were actually gaming a bit, too, when you'd usually be gaming at this time, and you got a chance to listen, so I want to say thank you, and I hope we can continue to celebrate the beautiful culture of games, for all the nerd battles and all the things that bring us together, because it wouldn't be gaming without it. With all that said, I'm just gonna say the iconic culture phrase and do my best to say it. Get your game on!